Ladies and gentlemen, and for all those that are fans of saying Merry Christmas, welcome to another episode of Pounds Firearms. Merry Christmas for you guys that celebrate Christmas. It is that time of year, hence my ugly sweater. Today we have a special one. This is a Winchester SXP Defender. This is sent in by a viewer. Viewer's like, hey, you know, I got this shotgun brand new. Something just doesn't feel right on it. It doesn't seem like it's working right. Can you take a look at it? I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it for you here. So, spoiler alert, I've already done some work to it to figure out the problem. I wish I had the camera on because it was a great one here. But if you Google or YouTube this SXP version, there's a lot of people out there that are having problems with like the trigger being dead, and then they have to turn on the safety and turn off the safety and then push the trigger, and then they rack it, and then it's the same thing, safety, off safety, and then pull the trigger. And some people aren't able to do it at all. Some people, you know, are having problems with this locking up and stuff. So for those of you that are having problems with the Winchester SXP and are having that problem, I figured it out. What ended up happening here is when I first got this thing, you would put the pump all the way forward, but it wouldn't lock. It would just stay here. Wouldn't lock, wouldn't lock, wouldn't lock. And it would just stay here. So when that happens, the trigger wasn't pushing. So even if it's on fire, let's check to make sure it's safe. It is safe. Nothing in there. But even though it looks like it goes forward, it won't fire. So rack it, and then nothing is happening here. So I ended up taking it apart about 9 or 10 times here. So let's see if we can take it apart real quick, and I'll show you what I ended up finding here. So put it on safe. I'm going to pop this pin out. Probably wasn't far enough. Let me see, do I have my Micro Machine multi-tool? I do have my Micro Machine multi-tool. So if we can get this to pop out all the way here. This pin is not captive. For those that take it apart, it will come all the way out. I'll just use my knife there. And yeah, so got that off. What this is going to do is going to pull out the trigger group here. So I probably should have done everything else first here. So we'll go ahead and just do a full dismantle. So we'll loosen this cap off. That should release the barrel. There it goes. Once the barrel's gone, you should be able to pull the trigger group out. So it is on safe. You know, a lot of people don't like to put their finger inside the trigger guard. Just be careful with the trigger, guys. You're basically just pulling it all up, and it comes out. So when I had it field stripped like this, then if you wanted to go out and take the whole bolt assembly, you can. Let's see if we can get the whole bolt out here. There it goes. Alright, so there's the field strip. For those that don't know, well, we'll just do the whole review, I guess. So we got the bolt, you push this pin, it's going to come out-ish. Then you got the firing pin, you got your spring, everything else comes out of here. Keep your finger there because it will shoot out. This is brand new, I didn't lube it, this is factory lube here. So yeah, so I guess we'll just do a full recap. I apologize, we should have done that the first time. So here's your bolt with your bolt carrier group, your firing pin. It is retained by the hook here on the slide. So basically you have to push it in about halfway. Rule of thumb, oh, I almost lost the spring. Rule of thumb is you push it in enough to where this gap right here, the firing spring, if you can see that, the firing pin, that gap is about inside of the circle. So you push it off and basically flush with your finger. Once you get that in there, you hook that hook up and then you slide it all the way up to where these two hooks attach, and now it stays in. So now it's kind of in there. I don't think you want to yank or anything, but that's how that works. Then it's attached to the pump, so on and so forth. Then we'll go ahead and take a look here. There's pretty basic in there. It's just a pump. I'll tell you what though, this is super light, this being all polymer. When I first picked this thing up, I was like, wow, that is the lightest shotgun I've ever picked up. Then of course you got your barrel. This one did come with the breech muzzle device on it. It does have the heat shield on it as well. Heat shield. It was kind of tricky at first, but you have to make sure. Whoa, see, I already screwed it up. Dang it. Oh man, we're going to take that back apart. But with the heat shield, there's these grooves right here. And this heat shield, there's a little notch that sits in there, and that's kind of how that rides. Yeah, well, we'll worry about that here in a second. Well, let's see if we can maybe finagle it real quick. Yeah, we were in there. Pull it out a little. I guess I got to tighten that screw up here. There we go. We'll make it maybe a little less than flush, because I think that was also part of the problem. There we go. So you got the heat shield. Rides on those little grooves right here. If you have this model, little grooves right there. And yeah, then you have your tube and your polymer back. This one did come with the Picatinny rail already, and it does have Ghost Sights that feel plastic-ish. But yeah, so when I was having that problem and the trigger wasn't going off, I took the whole thing apart, and then I came over here and I started messing with the trigger. I'm like, well, that's weird. When it's in my hand, it shoots just fine. And you can see the trigger's going off, no problems. Here's the trigger, here's the safety, and it goes off, no problems. I'm like, well, how in the heck can this thing go off every time when I have it in my hand, but it doesn't go off at all when it's inside inside the case, the gun, the shotgun, whatever you want to call it. So started doing a little more research. Let me pull this trigger again here. So right here on this gun, this shotgun, this is the bolt release. So you rack it back, you push it forward, you know, whatever reason you have to if you have to unload it, you push this bolt release. And it's really tiny, it's pretty easy, you know, you can see it right here. There's the bar right here. This bar is going to attach to the back of the bolt carrier group. So when you hit that, you see it just dips down just enough to get it to release. I started noticing, you know, I kept having problems. I take it apart, put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart. I was like, why in the heck? Well, every time I took it apart and put it back together, see this right here? Every time I put it back in, I don't know if you can tell on camera, I'm having a tough time seeing it, but every time I pulled it out, it would take off just a little bit of material every time I took off a little bit of material. I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, that seems pretty tight. It should be rubbing up against it. So the last time around here, I'll quickly put it together just so I can show you here. As you can see, when I put it in here, see how tight that is? So what I ended up noticing is when it was in here, oops, it went too far. Pull it out a little bit. And you can see it a little bit. So if I pull it out, you can see it like taking even more material off. So I started noticing is like, wow, it's pulling off material. Well, when it was in here, this wasn't moving. The release wasn't moving. It was stuck in the up position because of the pressure. When it's stuck in the up position, you couldn't rack it because it wasn't locking the bolt. So what I ended up doing is I took it back apart, and you can see, look, it already took out another little chunk. Get my hand out of the way. Took out another little chunk of material. So what I did is I went in there with my knife, took out a couple more slices out of that thing, especially up here in the front where the where it hangs out at. Once I took off that material, problem was solved. This thing racks every time now. So we'll put it back together here so you can kind of see it. So there's a spring right here that I get scared, but you just really have to rack it through. There's a spring on the inside there. I don't know if you saw it. Kind of hard with the shadow, but yeah. So rack that through, push it all the way down. Now we're gonna get the barrel going. Hopefully, since that heat shield is a little loose, we'll see how this goes together here. But line up the top, line up the bottom. I'm trying to do it on camera, but maybe not. I'm trying to do it without the heat shield. There we go. There we go. I think last time I was grabbing the heat shield and I started realigning it and then screwing things up even more. So let's make sure that's all the way back and stand it up. Whoa, knock the stuff over. Make sure that's all the way back, and then screw the cap on. This one doesn't like click like an M4 or an M3, but I think I have it all the way back here. So this is what it was doing before. It was just loose. It wouldn't lock. So now that I've shaved off some of that material. Watch this. Well, you already saw it because I already did it, but that's what was holding up this pistol, or this gun. So for any of you guys out there that have this shotgun and you're having problems with it, if you just shave off some of that material, it should be good to go. Oh, too far. Oh, maybe not. Oh, that was too far. There we go. We'll leave it there. So yeah, so now you can see when I rack it, see how I move forward a little bit? Put it on fire here and shoot it. See how it moved? It wasn't moving before. Watch, you'll see it lock this time. And it kind of moved a little bit. Watch, when you pull the trigger, see how it reset a little bit? Just an eighth of an inch or so. But it wasn't doing that. Because it wasn't doing that, it wasn't locking the pump, which it wasn't locking the bolt carrier group in there, which wasn't allowing the trigger to shoot. Basically, you thought it was out of battery, is my amateur assessment on what may have happened with this. But now, every time, man, you can see that the whole release moving the whole time. Now, it doesn't work, so, or it works fine. The more I use it, the more it grounds off on its own. It's naturally grinding some off, so I'm not going to take any more off. I'm just going to let it do its thing. But yeah, so that is the Winchester SXP. This is brand new. That guy thought it wasn't put together right, so he hadn't shot it yet. So guess what we get to do? We get to go shoot it. But before we do that, he had this in the case. He didn't mention anything about the sling, but he didn't have it on, so I want to go ahead and put it on for him real quick here. So there we go. All right, we got the sling on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and shoot this thing for the first time. So follow me while we go over to the range. We put a couple of 12 gauge through it. All right, guys, welcome back to the range. We're out here with the Winchester SXP. I already forgot the name of it. Is that what it's called? SXP, yep. All right, so we're doing nothing fancy with this guy here today. We are just using the factory iron sights. We're gonna see how close they are. I think ran it a few more times after our bench review there, and I rubbed some more off. So I think this thing's gonna work pretty flawlessly here. That slide lock is working now. There we go. All right, so we just brought some 2 3/4 out, nothing fancy. So yeah, let me see how holes 3 maybe. Make it work. 4. That may have been it. So we're at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems about right. All right, guys. We know what we will do is I'm going to chamber one and put one back in here. Safety's on. Oh, that one did not lock forward. Interesting. Wonder if I was just being a wimp or if we're still having issues. All right. Winchester SXP, the Defender model. All right, we'll just go slow here. We'll just rack the first one to see what happens here. I'll aim at steel. Looks like we hit. Cool thing about pump is you don't have to worry about the next shot going off. Pretty safe. Oh, you know what I did lose though? It's my heat shield. Recoil. I guess I gotta tighten that guy down. All right. There we go. Lose my heat shield again, dang it. See if we can load the next one fast here. Yeah, heat shield is not on tight. But hey, those fired off pretty good. Hey, everything worked this time. Put it on save. Yeah, this thing's racking up. This thing's going good. So other than that heat shield, barrel's a little warm. This thing's running flawless. I think it looks like the sights are pretty good, spot on. I feel like the wads were hitting the the steel. All right, we're taking here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we try 6? No, 6 will not go. So you got 5 plus 1. So now what I'm going to try, what I like to do with the pump action shotguns is I'll hold the trigger down, see if it fires with every charge. Let's see here. Nope, it does not. Oh, there it goes. Losing the heat shield. Shucks. I don't know if I got a tool with me or not, but yeah, it feels like this thing's firing pretty good. I had a pretty rapid succession there. I think this is about the right size right here. What do you guys think? There we go. Problem solved for now. Heat shield is gone for now. Uh-oh, looks like I left a couple marks. Sorry to that guy. Barrels are warm though. The heat shield does work because that heat shield is ice cold still. Alright, let's put a few more downrange here. Let me check it out. Well, probably take advantage of 12 rounds. Oh, that was 4, 5. This is 5. That was 5. So you do have this cool. Ooh, that barrel is warm. The cool breech around here. That's pretty cool. I'll be able to do this on. But the idea of this guy is jam it into a doorway, like so, and then bang. There you go. Let's leave some pretty decent marks. Bring it into those doorways. Like, hey, I need to get in this door. And then crack. Ah, there we go. Well, all right, we can pretend to breach the cardboard here. Hey, I need to get me in the door. There we go. Something like that. We got over here. See how this thing does hip shooting? It is pistol grips. It's kind of hard to hip shoot. Yeah, I'm a pretty good hip shooter, huh? Uh-oh. Was I racking too fast? Cool. Well, that barrel does get hot. This thing is going to be useful. I got to tighten it up next time. That barrel's warm. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do some more hip shooting here from way out here. Barrel slide release, pump action release. Here we go. Fire. That one was a mishap. Our barrel's getting smoking now. Muzzle device is getting warm too. So the pepper on this one is that it's light, really light. You guys want to know? Dang, we've already gone through 25 rounds. Wow, that was fast. But it is so light. Obviously, you add rounds to it. It gets a little heavier here in the front. But this back end right here is nice. Oh, you know what I did lose? Huh, that sucks. Well, our first fail. I wasn't keeping track of it because I've been hip shooting, but I've lost my rear sight. Oh no! I'm gonna have to owe that guy a rear sight. Damn. Well, I was talking about how light it is because there's so much plastic, but I think there's also plastic on that rear sight. Shoot. Well, we'll go on a scavenger hunt after this. It's a black, I think it's black iron sight with a dovetail on it. Pretty sure it's a dovetail. Oh, there it is. Found it. But we got 5 rounds left, so let's see if we make these count real quick here. Well, now I can't aim down the barrel, so I guess we'll just keep hip firing. Can we one-hand it? Let's see. There we go. All right, guys. Well, a little disappointing. So we'll take it back to the bench there, and we'll kind of go over the disappointment so far. I love the shotgun. I thought it was fun. It's nice and light. It was fun to shoot. But a couple of mishaps here. So let's take it back to the bench, and I'll do some thinking about it, and then I'll recap the issues I'm having. All right, guys. See you back at the bench. All right, guys. Welcome back. Woo! That was fun. I do like me some shotguns. So, Winchester, what you got going on here, buddy? Winchester's a pretty big brand. I'm a little disappointed on how easy this was to fall apart here. So, SXP, love the looks. I think it looks cool. I love the muzzle device. I just love the color toning on it. I think it looks really good. Nice and light. That part of it's good. The bad, well, we had a couple issues with it, right? The most burnt in it is this one out the box. The rear sight fell off, so that was fun. So we'll see if we can get that at least tightened back up here. See if I can go back out and zero it out here for that guy. Yeah, so before we put all this stuff together here, and we did have a problem with the heat shield. I just set it in there for now for transport, so I can drive it back out to the bench. So we'll undo this real quick. So we'll go over the bads here in a second, but I mean, you know, this heat shield went on and off a few times. I can't believe it's done this much damage to it already. That kind of sucks. Sorry to that guy. Yeah, let me know if you want me to pay for a new Cerakote. It really sucks. But yeah, let's take the sucker apart here. So I brought multi-tools out this time instead of my good old pocket knife. Let's see what we can get going here. So to pull this thing apart, I think it's typically towards the ejection port. I think it's rule of thumb. There we go. So that came out a lot easier than it has been. We're gonna undo tube nut here. Set this aside. Whole barrel should come out. There we go. Turn this upside down. The whole bolt should come out. Oh wait, no, trigger pack. Sounds safe. Pull up. There we go, trigger pack came out. Looks like it took another chunk out of it out. So there's still a little rubbing going on. I think it'll slowly work its way out. I won't have to keep rubbing it out. I think it's functional at least. We did have one mishap, I think, right? I think one or two times it didn't go off. Oh yeah, let's finish. Alright, got that sucker cranked down. Let's check for function here. Is it locked? Released? Locked? Hold and release? Cool. Alright, safety's on. No trigger. Off. No trigger. There it goes. So that's the same thing. It wasn't all the way locked. Safety. Trigger. Cool. We got function. Alright. So it looks like I probably put a little too much oil everywhere here, but that's alright. Cool. Alright. So this wasn't really supposed to be a fix-it video, but we'll go ahead and put together a little top. So, not only right, because we look at the thing before. I'm sure it's off. I think let's pull after settings. I think once you tied up, stuff you have, if you get one of these, check your rear sight shield light. If you have the problem with the trigger, check the plastic around it at least. That might be holding up. What else is there? Oh, no, this behind the wall has the heat shield here. Make sure it's just like it. We'll start running off and it will get better. Look at that stuff up here. No, that's a little bit. Keep pressure on it. Some in here. Keep pressure on it. Crank. That's pretty. I think that's what happened before. That's why I said some of these marks are here. Maybe cranked it too tight. Let's see. Let's make sure function's still there. Function's still there. Cool. Yeah, the only way to find out for sure is to see if it falls off. There we go. Heat shield's back on. Did leave a couple of marks. There are some marks here, but they're hidden. So who knows how that happened? Maybe it happened when we put it on, or maybe it happened just now when we were playing with it. There we go, guys. That is the Winchester SXP. All right, guys. Tell me what you think. Would you buy it? Would you not buy it? How much are you finding these for? Let me know if that helped you. The trick with this helped you, because I saw plenty of videos out there that people were talking about how their shotguns weren't working, and mine had the exact same problems. But once I figured that out, it started working again. So let me know if that helps you. All right, if you have any other suggestions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If not, this is Pound from Pound's Firearms, signing off.